still didn't get. I'm trying to see. Oh, here we go.
Go ahead and
Mm,
yourself, Clubhouse. Awesome. Hey guys. Shout out to Clubhouse. Shout out to Facebook Live. Shout out to thank you all. We appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
all right, all right, all right. I think we doing good. I think we doing good. We on Clubhouse, we on IG, and we on our live stream on the computer. I hear echo, but I don't know who else hears my echo.
I don't hear it.
Devontae, join my live so you can see. Let me know how it sounds.
If y'all listening in, let us know if y'all hear an echo, please. We're trying to perfect this craft of
Yeah, we trying to get this perfected so that we don't leave anybody out. Jess is frozen on my IG. Okay, I see you now. I see you moving.
we gonna figure this out, y'all, because we want everybody to be able to listen in. Thank y'all so
Right.
much for joining.
Um, so I think that today we're gonna what is it that I'm hearing though? I don't know if I'm hearing Clubhouse. Oh, now I don't hear it. What you did, Jess?
I muted.
Oh, you muted yourself. Okay, so then you unmute when you talk and I unmute when I talk like we usually do. And I think this is gonna work because I don't hear any feedback. Everybody in the IG chat room and on Clubhouse, let me know if you guys can hear us okay, how everything is going because we've been trying to figure this out between the Facebook feed and the IG feed and the Clubhouse feed so that we don't leave nobody out. This is Container Chat with Mojo and Jessica
Hey
because we're
guys.
all about that container life. And I know it might be strange for the IG people because we ain't been here in a couple of weeks because we was over there on Facebook. We still on Facebook, Jess?
Yep, Facebook.
Okay, so we on Jess's Facebook page as well if that's your option. Um, and we talking about this container life. I think today I wanted to for us to get into shipping containers in the news, like things that we hear going on with containers. Like I try to post stories that I see on my page because people are starting to use containers more and more. So I said I was gonna pull some stuff up on my laptop a little bit so I could find some stuff to talk about to let y'all know what's going on with shipping containers. But as I was pulling it up, guess who I saw on the news talking about containers? Jessica Lewis. So Jess, chime in and tell the people about when you was on the news talking about containers.
For sure. Hey guys. Yeah, well, thank you again for joining in. And, I wanted to find a way for us to have some resolve with, doing what we do. So, unfortunately, it comes in the form of us having to get, put ourselves out there.
Oh, I'm muted. I'm trying to figure out where else I need to mute because I don't. I'm muted.
So, no worries. And so, with that, a part of what we've been doing, that's perfect. So, part of what we're doing is we actually been able to kind of educate people through our podcast, of course. We're on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, trying to get y'all this information. So, I was featured last night on WMAZ in Macon, Georgia, presenting us in this opportunity to bring shipping containers to Middle Georgia. And so the reason why we took that route, uh, to be honest with you guys, is that where I live, which is Macon, Georgia, which is the middle of Georgia, about an hour and 15 minutes south of the airport. That area, they said they can't hear. Some people said they
Yeah,
can't.
IG is saying they can't hear you.
Okay, I don't know why. Well, you can unmute your side. Maybe they can hear me. I don't know. Everything's unmuted on my side, guys. And so with that, we went on the news to find a way for us to be able to kind of educate people about one, the company we're working for, but more importantly, in a way that we can kind of help them understand like this container can be a great product for you. And so with that, that's kind of why we took that route. We got into the media because brand awareness is really important. But the education has to extend beyond these type of conversations like podcasts, clubhouse, or what have you. So with that, we went in the news and let people know, hey, we exist and we're looking for great projects. And so by us doing these great projects, we're really understand that it becomes that option for people to know that we exist and that this product is out here for you. And we could be missing out on opportunities. So that's kind of why we went to the media. You probably see us on the news a little bit more, from podcast interviews to reality TV show that we're auditioning for right now, and other ways so that people can see that one, are blacks in green construction, there are women in construction and green construction, and to be honest with you, there's just so many different ways to be able to kind of help people understand what this is. So sometimes you got to use the media.
All right, all right, all right. So I don't know. IG is saying that they can't hear you. Just can you guys hear me? I know y'all can hear me because it's my IG. But on Jessica's side, I don't know what's happening. But please know that this is all in the in the realm of trying to have everybody connected. Um, so um, in that we got in that we have a couple of things that's happening in the news recently. So um, so we had so there's this international organization that overlooks all building construction called the IBC, the International Builders. Just help me out. International Building Coalition Code.
Code. Mm-hmm.
Code. Okay. So they recently changed their rules and their regulations to include the fact that shipping containers can be used in all construction, which is huge for us because it's like even though we all have 100% approval rate, both of us between our two companies, with regard to getting projects approved, this is another step in that direction to avoid to open more municipalities up to approving container projects, even if they hear the word container, because y'all know we always tell y'all, you don't have to say it's a shipping container project for it to happen. um but the fact that it got approved by the IBC is huge. So that's one thing that happened recently in the news. Just is the other thing that happened in the news. And then I saw an article that said that the military is doing they making 3D printing factories inside of shipping containers. So that just means that containers are like we worldwide, y'all. We out here. We all over the place and yes, for real because it sometimes the container world, the container life seems really small sometimes even though it's been here, right? Because when you think about people like Leslie that been out here for 10 plus years building, and then we get into other companies like ours that have been around for a few years, it seems like, and then not even to mention people of color in the industry, those numbers are even smaller. um to understand that we out here and it's getting out there and it's getting more publicity and it's getting more press is always a good thing, because then it's not such a foreign thing when we introduce it to these different cities. What you got to say about that, Jess?
I
Hopefully we can
concur.
hear you.
I concur. I took myself
We
out
hear
of the
you.
no. Let's see. So I took myself I took myself out of the Bluetooth, so I'm not really sure why nobody can hear me still. And so I agree. You know, a lot of what's happening right now with this industry and everything, if we don't bring more awareness to it, unfortunately, the acceptance just will never happen. You know, and so I'm glad that, you know, we get this opportunity, this podcast, and that makes a difference. I'm grateful that we have other measures that have been able to use our platforms for different things. Just being able to have the opportunity to educate people about stuff really, really makes a difference. And so, with that, I would say that some of the better opportunities that lie ahead with this container life comes in the form of us having to do less talking. You know, unfortunately, in this world where something is new, you have to explain more, which is fine. But the other side to it too is that people not knowing about something and it being being foreign, then that's kind of where the challenges come. And so I would say by the grace of God, we've been able to get 100% approval rates, but in the same breath, some of the challenge that lie come from us also not being able to educate certain people, or at least them being open to that. Christopher, I see we have you up here as a speaker on Clubhouse. You had a comment or a question?
Hey, good evening, everybody. No, I was just joining in just to listen and learn. We actually
Awesome.
are Detroit, Michigan, and my nephew, business partner, uh, we actually are looking at doing a container build on a city lot that we own. And if all goes well, that's going to be the model for doing multiple two-family projects throughout the city.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's amazing. I tell people, I said, the key right now is to catch up to Bill Gates. You know, buy as much land as possible so that you're able to do these types of projects. You know, with the container life, what's great about it is that turnaround time, just being able to do a build out very quickly so you can achieve any goals that you have with minimal effort. You know, especially if you have a good team and people that can help you carry out your task. So I'm grateful. Congratulations, Christopher. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Like I say, we're trying to get in this movement where it's, really far out of hand as far as cost and control being affordable again to the Bill Gates level. We're trying to get in early on it. And ideally, if all goes well, I have a couple of lots in suburban Metro Detroit where we're looking at where I would love to do a modern layout for my, for the remainder, the house that we live in for the rest of our lives now from this point here in Michigan anyways.
Awesome. Remember, Chris, the sky is not the limit. So come up with some ideas and visions and make it happen. I'm excited for you. Hopefully, you'll see us soon doing some projects in Detroit. We're actually solidifying some of our partners there with Blight Busters, who does a lot of rehab work and renovations. They want to get to the container life, and so we'll be partnering with them to bring some really great opportunities to the area. So I look forward to maybe meeting you in person soon.
All right. Yeah, that's
Sounds good. Look forward to it. Just sent you a follow and yeah, let's do something for the city.
yeah, Chris. I'm looking forward to all the possible bills that we have going on all over the country. We're all connected in a way, even if we're not building together as the container click. That's what I call my container people. As the container click, we are all connected with whoever is building or thinking about building or learning about building things of that nature. So another thing that I wanted to talk about was building for homelessness. So it was an article in the news about the fact that Newark is building temporary housing for the homeless people that be in Newark Penn Station. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh yeah, finally getting it.
Finally, right?
I can't hear you, Jess. It's a bunch of containers sitting around, and it's a bunch of homeless people all over the place. and we just one plus one is two. Like we need to put this together to make it work and to solve this homelessness crisis. It's like, really? Like y'all just thinking about that, and then to juxtapose that, right? I saw another article where I think it was somewhere in Pennsylvania or Delaware or something. One of the mayors was doing an ordinance against container homes. They're dangerous and you don't know it. All the BS myths that we hear all the time. It could have had toxic chemicals in it, and it's not safe and there's no way to know. I was like, you as a mayor should know better. One, to do your research before you start putting stuff out there. Like if you have personal reasons, right? I don't want that industrial looking box in my neighborhood or whatever. That's different. But to put out false information because we don't know how safe it is. And it could be this, it could be that. I was like, I can't believe that it's a mayor of a city that's putting this out there. It was some politician. I can't say it was the mayor, but I could probably find an article. But it was just weird for me to see, you know what I'm saying, a politician taking that position. Somebody on IG said it's also happening in Los Angeles. There was an article about it as well. Flute Funk Star, are you talking about the building for the homeless or people talking against containers? Because I'll be doing a lot and I'll be talking a lot and I don't even know what you're referring to right now. And that's my fault because I'll be jumping all over the place. But I know like you've been on a lot of different projects, Jess. I know you got international projects under your belt. I'm trying to grow up and be like you. Um what what have you seen as the response? Because this is not the first time I saw you like on the news with regard to containers. So is it more of a positive response that you get, or do you sometimes get some negative feedback as well? Oh,
Interestingly, a lot of what I actually get both. So I guess one side of it is the people who, like you said, about time y'all using this. They should have been using it, you know. Whereas the other part is the opposite, where, for instance, today was a busy day because us being on the news, so many people had contacted us as a result of seeing us, which was a good thing, right? And so all of those are the positive things where people's like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for a company that can do it. I'm excited, blah, blah, blah. But I'll speak a little bit more about the negative side because it just comes from ignorance of somebody not really knowing, what's going on and how to use it properly and the inner workings of it. And so that's what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why they need us. And I would love to talk to whoever that person was to say, dude, why are you out here spreading fake news like Trump was saying?
you know what I'm saying? The fake news. I'm looking at this article like, wow, dude, seriously?
And he's serious because in his world and in his mindset, he just don't know what he don't know. So I'm not even really mad at him and what he's thinking. He just legit he don't know, and so that's what we're here for. Like in this world, a lot of people aren't taking this approach. The educational approach. They could care less, and so that's the other side to it. So a lot of times, people who are ignorant of certain things, something has to happen to them in order for them to change their mind. So those negative comments that I've seen, like I've posted. So that actual article I created into an ad and made it a post on social media. And so what ended up happening was we had a lot of people just commenting nasty stuff on the comment. I'm like, dude, if you don't like it, keep it moving. And it wasn't anything negative towards me or my company or anything. They just was like, oh, I didn't think liberals were smart enough to think of something like this. Like, I'm just like, what does that have to do with the price of China in China? Like, come on, dude. Like, y'all killing me. You know what I'm saying? So, needless to
Right.
say, I don't know why nobody can hear me on Instagram because I'm a hang up and come back in. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Do that.
And so a lot of what I've experienced
No,
is
good looking out.
we have a
Um,
lot of people who they don't know what they don't know, and that's okay.
Good looking out. Um,
So we got a little delay. All right, so I'm coming back into IG. Thank you guys. Um, but that's the name of the game. We're kind of used to that by now. We're used to people feeling how they feel and doing what they do. But we don't. We just brush it off our shoulders and keep it moving because we want to make sure that for the people who want this information, they get it. We want to make sure that everything that we're sharing about the information is accurate so that they can get a better understanding. So a lot of times, what I've learned is when people don't know certain things, oftentimes what happens is they just kind of lash out, and so I think that's what happens a lot in these situations. People are just lashing out, and then even from the more positive side of things, people really are looking for this as a solution, and that's because, this is the feedback I got directly from them, is because literally they understand the benefits of it, they understand the value of it, and they've been doing their research. Every person I talk to that's been a serious customer, so we got a lot of people that they shopping around. I don't know what that means. How do you shop around for a container home? Like, we're not buying a pair of shoes. You either know you want to do this or you don't. I got people calling me telling something, oh, I'm not building something for 3 years from now. Why are we having this conversation right now? Holler at me in 3 years, 6 months out of your project, And so,
what are we doing? Like,
what are we doing?
yeah, what are we doing here? And the thing is, and that's okay because what I will say is, at least they're in the mindset. Some people, like that mayor, just not in the mindset yet. And honestly, I think what happens is people don't understand the value in it, and so by them not understanding the value in it, they are going to talk bad about it. It's just like in school when someone says, "Oh, I don't like Mojo." Why don't you like Mojo? I just don't like her. You ain't got no reasons. Like you just making up
Like
stuff.
you don't even know me. You don't even know me. You don't like me, but you don't even know me. Like it's crazy.
And that's
But
and
I
that's exactly how it is.
Yeah, let me just reset the room for everybody. So on Clubhouse, guys, this is the container chat with Mojo and Jessica. On IG, of course, guys, this is the container chat with Mojo and Jessica. And I want you guys to post questions. And if you're on Clubhouse and you have Oh, I wonder if. Oh no, I'm muted. Oh, hey guys, I did reset the room saying this was the container chat with Mojo and Jess, but I was muted. So y'all couldn't hear me. But like I said, I want you guys to ask questions because I even want you to make comments about what I saw or I heard, right? ABC, so that we could dispel some of the myths that people have around container architecture. You know what I mean? Because people are, or I told you, people run for YouTube views doing videos called "Why Shipping Containers is a Scam." How am I scamming you now? Like I'm confused. What is this? What is
They
this a
put in
scam?
on her
Why is
too.
it a scam? You know
Yeah,
what
they
I
put
mean?
in her
Oh,
real quick.
Derm Dwight said it's an echo. I don't know if that's because I brought the phone closer to this phone, but I moved it. Is it better? um, but yeah, I want y'all to ask questions. I want y'all to ask. Oh, they saying my echo is going in and out. I don't know if it's my earpods or I have an echo feedback. You muted, right, Jess? Yeah, I don't know, y'all. We trying to perfect this sound, and I can't tell you exactly what's going on because I got everything muted it's not so that it's not too much feedback. But I'm looking crazy right now. Um, but Jess, you got it. Just try to let people know like some of the things that we see people say about container builds that we wanted that probably should have been our topic today, the top myths of container life or container projects.
So I'll get started. So One thing I wanted to send a special prayer to everybody that is dealing with these natural disasters right now. It's a struggle, guys. You know, the snow, the lack of resources. So a lot of people don't have water right now. A lot of people don't have electricity right now, and so I'm sending a prayer out to you all. If you're listening and you're in those areas where you're not safe right now, or you don't have heat or water or other resources, we are praying for you guys. So I wanted to start by saying that because I have a lot of friends that are really struggling right now down in the southeast area between Oklahoma and Texas. You know, some of those car accidents that occur from the black ice. I really want to talk about the myths of that because with the container, one of the number one myths that I always hear, um, you know, the biggest thing is about the use. So I'll talk about what the mayor said as far as like chemicals. So for starters, with a container, guys, just so y'all know, they're not allowed to sell you a container that had chemicals in it. They're typically decommissioned, and so what that means is decommission means they're putting it out of business. And so by being put out of business, that alone is what guarantees that you don't get a container that has contaminants, is what they call it, or chemicals or any other thing that's hazardous to us as human beings. So I would say that's one of the main myths that I've heard. People are wondering like what was in a container and why, you know, how do you find out? We've talked about that before. How do you find out what was in a container? And typically, you wouldn't have to worry about that part of purchasing one because they're not allowed to say. If you buy from a reputable dealer, then that particular thing is not an issue. So keep that in mind. And that's important to understand because of you wanting to be safe when you are purchasing a container. A lot of what's happening is most people don't know how to start that process. So another myth is that you could just buy a container and just rock out with it. Unfortunately, that's not exactly how that works, guys. And so, hi, Saluki. That's not how it works. So you have to understand what goes into that process. So, as we mentioned before, a lot of the negative feedback that we get from people really stems from, to be honest with you, just them not understanding something. And so, if someone says, "Oh, I'm just gonna go buy a container," I had people come to me professional and tell me that they're gonna build their own container. They have license to the fifth. They don't even know where to start. They didn't even know where to buy a container from, and they thought that I was going to tell them all these things for the sake of just telling them. And so I told them, I said, "Here's what I'm going to do for you. I am going to tell you something. I am going to tell you that you need to go do more research." And the reason why I say that is because this is really that the unsafe part of a container is when someone doesn't know how to properly reinforce it. And so a myth is that you can just cut out windows, you can just cut out doors and just go about your business, not knowing that you need to reinforce those areas, those openings to ensure that they're safe for the person that's going to be in that space. So you got to remember that technically the container is the frame. So we're crystal clear on that. We've talked about that already. However, when you start cutting out doors and windows, part of that container starts to lose its structural integrity, meaning it starts to lose its strength because now you don't put a hole in it. So think of it like that. So I would say with that particular myth, if you think you can just buy a container and not know much about it, or you can just buy a container and start cutting out holes, you're setting yourself up for failure, unfortunately, because with that container, if you don't know exactly where to cut in it, that's why you need an engineer, by the way, a structural engineer specifically. If you don't know where to cut and then you don't know how to reinforce, that can be very dangerous to people. So I would say those are some of the more common myths, and I brought that up because those are the myths that need to be addressed because it's a difference between safety and not being safe, which is really important, right? You know, when you're doing these projects, all of that is fine, but we don't want you to injure yourself trying to do a project. So you may not want to use somebody like me or Mojo, but we also don't want you to use your ignorance. and place yourself or your family or a potential customer at risk because you just don't know what you are not supposed to be doing. So I do encourage you guys to definitely, Mojo has a lot of really great resources. So I would encourage you guys to get with her. She has all kinds of books and ponies and tricks and all that good stuff that kind of educates you guys about that. And then, of course, we got our master class that you can sign up for. Mojo is a graduate of it, so she's learned more stuff to add to her toolbox so that she can give it to you guys. So please, by all means, don't skimp on education. I would say that's the biggest myth.
Yeah, I think a big part of the beauty of doing this podcast is that we get to educate, right? A lot of people are on social media to gain customers, to gain followers. I feel like I post so much and I say so much because I want to share information. And I'm about that container life. Like, I'm always like, we could do anything with a container. And they like, Monique, no, you can't. Yes, you can. You can do anything with a container. Porter Ahmed, if you go to shippingliving.com, that's Jess's company's website, shippingliving.com. It has information about the master class on there. You could that It's a dope class. It got so much information. Oh my god, I learned so much, and I'm information station already, and I got a photographic memory. So just pouring more stuff in just made it. And they saying I gotta echo again. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, guys. I'm trying to not to mute on Clubhouse, but if I mute on Clubhouse, then they can't hear me. Maybe Jess, you could play me through the speaker on Clubhouse. Yep, there I go. I hear me. Um and let me know, guys, if the echo went away. We might have mastered something. We might have mastered the whole puzzle of uh getting this sound together. Do you all live in a container house? No. I'm in the process of looking for land to figure out exactly where I want to put, cuz I'm dead like y'all kids could keep this house. I'm going to live in a container somewhere, little 20 foot by myself.
A lot of people assume that's another myth, I guess. Assume because we sell the product that we live in it, and it's not that we aren't going to live in it. We just haven't lived in one yet. My specialty is project management, so a lot of what I've done is in this space, the green space, and the shipping container space. That's what my career has been for the last 6 years. And so, to answer M. Turner 2600, I'm actually in the process of building my home. I have an interesting design. Part of it is underground because the apocalypse is
And
coming.
she's a prepper, and the apocalypse is coming.
Y'all can get caught slipping up if y'all want to, but the apocalypse is coming. And I told my friends, including Mojo and all of y'all, if y'all become my friend too, if you don't know the passcode to get in my house, you ain't getting in my house when the apocalypse comes. So part of my house is underground for that reason, bunker style, in case something happens, of course. And then a part of my house is above ground. I then have separate houses for myself and guests so that I don't have to see the people who come visit me. I know that sounds terrible, but I want to make sure that I have my privacy, me and my family. So when my friends and families come, I actually build houses on the compound that they have their own space. And then we have common areas that come together as one. So rather it's entertainment, we got movie rooms, we got dinner rooms, all that stuff. So that design is for family style. So we all have our own separate spaces, but then we all can come together as one. And the underground part is only in my house. So, you know,
I
maybe I
think that's the ultimate design, though.
yeah.
Like, j- when I think about, like, cause I stay in a different container every month. I go to a different place,
She like a
and
container hobo.
I am container bum. I'm just trying to find whatever container I can stay in.
No, we're gonna say a gypsy. Hobo sounds a little negative. So you like a gypsy?
The container gypsy. I'm not even mad at that. I am not mad at the container gypsy at all. But it's a learning process. One is a learning process for me, just to see different designs, different creations, different thoughts. But it's also educational for different for my listeners, followers, our fam, because it's like if you don't know, you just see pictures on Airbnb or on Insta or wherever, and you don't really understand 20 feet of space is 20 feet of space. Like, I talk about containers all the time and I love it. But when I stayed in that, me and my boyfriend stayed in that 20-foot box, I was like, this is tight. Like, it was dope though, because it had like a Murphy bed, so you could put the Murphy bed up when you're not using it, which gave you a bunch of extra space. It's in my IGTV videos, guys, if you haven't seen it. But it's like you don't really understand what, and the fact that 120 foot or 140 foot is not the same as the next one, because I've stayed in a 40 foot in one place where the door is at the end of the container, which gives you more space on both sides of the walls to do whatever. But then I also stayed in a 40 foot where one side had big double doors. That's the opening, right? So that gives you less wall space to work with, in your design. So that's why I visit different ones every month. And I also want to create a network of black container Airbnb owners, because ain't none. I'm just saying. I've been to quite a few, and I could count on half of my one hand, like this, how many black owners I have met, like seriously. And it's like, you've seen the articles about safety at Airbnbs and racism that happens in Airbnb spaces. And if we can interconnect these black Airbnb owners, I know they made websites like Black B&B or something like that, different websites with regard to that. But I need to do that with the container life, because um it's also an awareness thing, right? Letting people understand the uniqueness of container builds and the profitability of containers as an Airbnb option. I always tell people about that box hop build up in Ohio, and they get 400 a night for one and 300 a night for the other one, and they booked out through 2022. And it's the uniqueness of this being a container home. I mean, yeah, they up in the mountains, it's in a state park or something like that, and it's a dope space. Like they got a hot tub outside and a fire pit, but this is all the things that you could do. That's why I visit the different places, right? So I could see different aspects of builds to be able to add to people, right? To your information bank, so you know what's out there. But also, if you thinking about doing a build, it's nothing wrong with not reinventing the wheel. Like, please don't think you just gotta go with a design from scratch and figure it out yourself. Like, I got the 4 volume set on shippingcontainermojo.com. It has dozens and dozens of designs. Like, go from a design that's already done and then build from there. So,
A lot of people, that's another myth since we're talking about it, that they feel like they do have to reinvent the wheel. Ideally, my customers, when they come to me, I ask them to go on Pinterest or I ask them to Google container homes and see what pops up, because unfortunately, as a designer, so to speak, as I am, it's hard to pull people's vision out of their heads. sometimes it's just easier to kind of give them that opportunity, go online, and they kind of see what it is that they like and say, all right, I like this. And so that's a great foundational thing. We can start there and then we can go from there. So that's what I appreciate about the internet and Pinterest and all these lovely sites, because what you said is number one myth is I just gotta get this idea out of my head. But what I found in life is there's very few ideas that's that original. You know, there's very few things that somebody has invented from scratch. There is, of course, many things. That's why we have so many patents and inventions out there, but it's very few things. And a lot of times, even with those, people just reinvented something that was already there. So don't be afraid to use your resources. Go to Mojo site, look it up, acquire her box set so you can get that information. Don't, I would say don't overthink it. I think that's another big myth. People think they got to do this elaborate thing. I'm just crazy like that to think the apocalypse is coming and that I need to have, part of my house underground. That's just me. Ain't got nothing to do with you. You don't have to have an underground house, but I'm doing it because I want to be safe. If something happen, I want to live in the next new world. I feel like even though,
I mean, I think that everybody should have a go box, and that could be a container,
yeah,
right? Like because of the durability of containers, even if you don't have an underground bunker like Jess, you can have a storage container that's like your bunker, your pantry, your extra panic room, right? That where you have everything, food for a certain amount of time, water for a certain amount of time. And we using the grow pods so that we could grow food and do everything so that in the event that something crazy, cause them people in in Houston, I mean in Texas period are bugging right now. Like they don't have if the grid goes down, what you gonna do? Even if you have your panic room or extra container that has solar, even if your whole house isn't powered by solar, maybe the container portion that you have on your land is powered by solar or has a my thing, the Tesla power wall. I'm dying to build with one of those. Oh my god. Like that got me excited. Just the thought of doing a build with the Tesla Powerwall, because aside from us in the green construction and the sustainability and energy conservation, that's 2.0 for me. Like that's taking it to the next level, and that's so dope. But I think that people need to start thinking about options, additions, right? Additional dwelling units is not just a barn, a gazebo, stuff like that. Additional dwelling units with regard to shipping containers are growing immensely and being widespread and used a lot. And it's just putting an additional living unit, an in-law suite, an Airbnb house, whatever you want to call it, on property where there's already a primary dwelling. And that could be your safe house. That could be your panic room. It could be anything like that. I just need people to start thinking like that and thinking outside the box, because we can't always rely on the grid too much, clearly. And when stuff goes down, nobody thinks about what happens if the grid goes down until the grid goes down, except the preppers, right? The preppers is like, we chilling. The lights is on. The refrigerator is running because I got a generator and I got solar. So we good. You know what I mean? But a lot of regular, quote unquote, everyday people don't think about that. And I want to bring awareness to um creating these emergency spaces and these grow spaces for people um that have land or are gonna acquire land, because it's paramount. Something is gonna happen. Like me and my daughter was talking about when 9/11 happened. No cell phones was working. Everybody was panicked. You know, I'm from New York. I got a bunch of family in New York. You can't reach nobody. You couldn't do anything. Like, so much wasn't working. We done had brownouts and blackouts and all of that in New York City and in different parts of the country. And it's like people still don't prepare for it. They don't prepare for the possibility. And so we gotta have that as a priority for us as a people to really think about those options. And of course that option includes a container if you ask Monique. Or Jessica, right?
Or Jessica.
Right. Because it always can be done with a container all the time.
And actually, I'm glad you brought that up because when we come back on our next session, let's talk about that. Let that be the topic: how to survive using a container as an extra, dwelling on your space. Because what you're saying is, and we're just talking relevancy. Right now, a lot of people are very stressed right now. I know, man. When I wanted to cry for my friends today. Like that's how bad I felt for them because what can you do? You got a solution that can be used very easily to solve a problem, but like you said, people don't know enough about it. They're not open to the information or they don't want to know more about it. It's not a good feeling. It's sad for me to have to see my friends go through the things that they go through knowing I do what I do. And I don't know. Go
First
ahead.
of all, Jessica, I'm a thug, so don't be trying to make me cry.
Sorry, like it hit home for me
But
today.
it's really, it does hit hard when you know you got a solution and you see people suffering from something and you know that you have an available solution. You right about that.
I talked to 8 people today that's suffering from this, and just having to hear them, just the despair that was in their voice, it was hard to hear, y'all. And unfortunately, I'm sitting in Florida with 80 degrees. You know what I'm saying? And at worst, what I've experienced since I've been here, it may have been like super windy and raining. So unfortunately, again, this just shows me that there's more education needed. This is why, we got this podcast. It's needed because this is the solution that can solve so many things. And so if you're just listening for the first time, remember these containers are wind, water, and fireproof. Those are the three main, I would say, weather conditions that we have challenges with, and knowing that those three things exist, in this particular one product can really solve a lot of things. And so our goal, you're going to see me and Mojo, we're going to be on our podcast. We're going to rock out with y'all. We're going to be on more opportunities for media, public speaking engagements, just to get that out there because that's the number one challenge right now. How can we get this information to the masses? So we hope that y'all been sharing and liking and subscribing so y'all can stay abreast to what we're doing. And then you guys will get notifications when we're doing it and just be able to invite somebody else onto the call just so that more people can hear about it. We don't have to live like this. Like, for one, let's be real. And I'm not going to get on my soapbox about politics, but I'm
I said, oh snap, just about to start. She about to start.
what disgusts me is we don't still, after all these things that's been happening, weather-wise in our country, we don't have a proper emergency preparedness plan. Like that bothers me. Like I really don't understand how, if you already know there's a possibility that you can get black ice, why didn't y'all salt the roads? Like that's just common sense. You knew the storm was coming, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Let's be honest. Sometimes the meteorologists they be a little wrong. I've been in situations like a storm is coming, and the next day nothing happens. You like, well, just said a storm was coming, so I get that. But we're being a little naive as individuals, so we can't blame nothing on the government. We're being naive as individuals to think that we shouldn't prepare ourselves. So we can't depend on anybody other than ourselves to be prepared in these type of situations. And what Mojo said, as far as bringing that particular resource to your household, to your neighborhood, maybe you got to be the first person to do it, and then everybody else kind of follow up after that. They may want to see you do one first, and then they kind of follow on after that. But I also don't believe in the monkey see, monkey do thing either. Let me be very clear on that. So if you have to be the first person in your container life to start a project just so other people can follow, that's great. You're a leader and all. But at some point in time, we got to think independently of other people and do what's right for our lives. And unfortunately, this is one of those situations where we are realizing how we don't have all the resources in our toolbox to be able to get through something like that. And so I just challenge you, if you're listening, think outside the box when it comes to preparing for these emergency situations, especially if you live in an area where that particular weather condition is something that's consistently happening. If you live in a floodplain or if you live in a high wind area, things like that. There's things you can do to protect yourself. And just know, if you don't know, you can reach out to us and ask us, hey, what can I do? To be honest with you, it may be a $3,000 investment to just purchase a container and just have it sit on your property, and you can fix it up over time. If it's on your property and it's used more like a shed, so that means you may not have water or electricity running to it, you don't need permits for that. So that's something to think about. You can build something that's just a protective device on your land in case something happens. And remember, tie it down. So don't just,
Contact us so we can figure out a foundation and make sure
yeah,
that it don't go nowhere.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm being a little too simplistic in this conversation, but I will say that you need to at least permanently affix it to the ground. Like make sure it's quick, quick, so I don't fly away in case the wind comes. So yeah, I definitely oversimplified that. I'm glad I fixed and cleaned that up because y'all are like that can just
Right?
tell
They
me
be like, Jess said I could just plop it down on the grass
boy.
and we'll be all right.
I felt the heat coming from people that
Like, ooh, I feel it on my neck. I feel it on my neck.
somebody's gonna be like, "Well, Jessica, you said." So no, Jessica said you should do that, but you should permanently fix it. So even if you don't use us to do a whole build out, at least have us come lay some slabs for you. Put some concrete down so that you're able to at least have your stuff secure in case something happens. And underground stuff, don't try that. If you're not, if you're not a
Yeah,
civil
that's a lot.
engineer, a structural engineer, don't go try putting no shipping container underground. I've seen now. I'm not even going there. I see some crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna talk about people. I've seen some crazy stuff. I just
Look, this is God saying, Jessica, don't go there. It's 10:30.
yes, right on the dot. Saved by the bell. So with that, we said a whole lot today. We talked a little bit about myths. We talked about containers in the news. We hope you guys found this stuff super helpful. We're here every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Feel free to DM us, follow us, send us message, share with a friend, because the more people that know about this container life and understand how this stuff works, the more people who are going to buy into it. And why do we want it to buy into it? Because it's a great solution for affordable housing, disaster relief, transitional housing, anything you could think of, you're able to use this product for. And that's just on the residential side. Commercial, you can use it for anything as well. You can build out apartments, commercial retail spaces, restaurants, you name it, you can do it. And so please visit me online at shippingliving.com. Our master class is on there. Our apprenticeship book is also on our website as well. And you can sign up for our newsletter so we can update you when we're launching our franchise opportunities and all that good stuff. Definitely go to Mojo's page, follow, like, share her stuff. She has a lot of great resources for y'all. She has all kind of books. She has all kind of everything. I don't even
I hate when people say, I hate when people say, go to the link in my bio, but uh go to the link in my bio. Like I got like do it yourself stuff. We got the master class with Jess is on there. I got my website, blackboxqueens.com. If you want to reach any of us, it's info at the website. So info at shippingliving.com or info at blackboxqueens.com. We got the consultation page. If you said you want to do a build, that's the first place to go. The consultation form on either of our websites is the first place to go, because don't call me talking about, Monique, I want to do a 2023 build and I just want us to talk about it. Um, Impact Equitable Justice. We are a Florida-based nonprofit organization. How can we help to get the word out in our community? Yes. All right. So, like I was saying, the email addresses are info at shippingliving.com and info at blackboxqueens.com. Just let us know, you know what I'm saying, your Instagram name so we can connect the dots. Let us know what you do, and then we can discuss exactly, like, getting the word out is what we need to do. Derm Dwight, the two emails are info at shippingliving.com and info at blackboxqueens.com. Those are our two companies. They each have a consultation form if you want, if you're interested in doing a build. We also have a contact us form if you want to send an email, if you want to invite us on your podcast, if you want to uh put us on the news again, whatever. We have a contact form on each of our websites for you to be able to contact us to get that done. If you just want a great um information resource, we have the do it yourself 4 volume set at shippingcontainermojo.com. And we have the master class. That's like the 2.0 where you get all of the everything. Um, at shippingliving.com. And I think that's it. I ain't even talking about my book. Don't worry about it. That'd be another day. Cause you got a book too. That's why y'all gotta keep coming, cause we gonna keep doing it. But like I always tell y'all, if you can hear it, read it, or view it, you can know it. Just like Mojo knows. And every day is another chance to start all over again. Thank you, Jess. We did it again.
Is not the limit. And so when you're thinking of what you can do with a container, remember you can do anything you put your mind to it. And we are so grateful for you guys. And so with that being said, we will see you on our next session.
See
Thank
y'all
you.
Monday.
Have a
Thank you.
fantastic day, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Take care. Thank you.
You
Bye
too,
bye.
Chris.